Let's be clear, this isn't just a quarterback controversy anymore. This is a full-blown meltdown, a three-alarm football, financial, and cultural emergency. And at the center of it all is one name that keeps echoing through the chaos: Shedeur Sanders. If you thought this was just about who starts on Sunday, you're not paying attention. The Cleveland Browns' decision to bench the most exciting rookie quarterback in recent NFL memory has triggered a seismic chain reaction that no one, if you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Not even the league itself was prepared for. This isn't just about winning games anymore. This is about survival. Because with every snap that Shedeur doesn't take, the Browns are hemorrhaging more than just yards. They're losing fans, money, credibility, control, and the worst part, everyone saw it coming. Let's start with the most immediate jaw-dropping stat. Preseason ratings have collapsed. We're not talking about a little dip. We're talking about a nosedive off a cliff. From 4.5 million viewers to just over 200,000. That's not a slump. That's a revolt. That's millions of fans collectively saying, "Call me when Shedeur plays." And the message is loud and crystal clear. The people didn't come to watch Dillon Gabriel fumble his way through offensive sets. They came for Shedeur. They came for the energy, the precision, the next-gen leadership. And when Stefanski made the call to bench him, the fans made their call too. They flipped the channel. And it didn't stop there. You got angry fans burning jerseys outside First Energy Stadium like it's a post-apocalyptic bonfire. Season ticket cancellations are rolling in faster than a Shedeur 2-minute drill. There are entire Reddit threads and TikTok chains organizing full-scale boycotts of Browns merch. People are done because it's not just about one quarterback. It's about what he represents. Hope that maybe, just maybe, Cleveland could finally break the cycle. That the team could pivot away from decades of mismanagement, missed opportunities, and quarterback roulette. That they finally had someone worth believing in. And Kevin Stefanski, he took that hope, stuffed it in a duffel bag, and buried it 6 feet under the second string. Now the Browns are spiraling. And it's not just inside the stadium. Local businesses are feeling it. Ask any sports bar owner in downtown Cleveland. Ask the hotel clerks near the stadium. Ask the Uber drivers, the bartenders, the vendors. They'll all tell you the same thing. Game day used to mean packed crowds. Now it feels like a Tuesday in March. This isn't a sports story anymore. This is an economic story. The city's bottom line is tied to the Browns. When the team wins, everybody eats. When the fans are engaged, Cleveland is alive. But when you bench Shedeur Sanders, the lights start dimming. Entire businesses are seeing losses. Reservations down. Tips down. Revenue down. All because one coach is too stubborn or too scared to admit he got it wrong. And now, the owners are fighting. You got whispers out of Berea that the Browns' ownership group is fractured. Someone lets Stefanski ride it out. Trust the process, they say. Don't cave to fan pressure. Others? They're furious. Watching the numbers tank. Watching headlines turn against them. Watching major sponsors quietly back away. And they're ready to blow the whole thing up. Because this isn't just about pride anymore. It's about dollars. The corporate sponsors? They're not happy. Rumors are swirling that at least 2 major partners are reconsidering their deals. One even threatened to pull out entirely unless Shedeur gets meaningful reps before the regular season kicks off. Let that sink in. An unpaid rookie quarterback is now affecting million-dollar contracts. And who can blame them? Shedeur Sanders is the story. The buzz. The face fans want to see. He's the jersey people are actually willing to buy. He's the reason Cleveland had a shot at national attention. And Stefanski turned that spotlight off like it was giving him a migraine. And the NFL? Oh, you know they're sweating. They built an entire empire on stars. Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow. And here comes Shedeur, media-trained, game-ready, charismatic as hell. And instead of featuring him, the Browns are hiding him like he's a secret weapon that might get damaged in the sun. Well, guess what? You don't sell tickets with secret weapons. You sell tickets with stars. And Shedeur is sitting there, arms folded, watching the world unravel around a decision he didn't even make. Even former players are stepping in now. Analysts, legends, everyone from ESPN to retired Browns greats are voicing their confusion, their frustration. Some are calling it the worst roster decision of the last decade. Others are flat out saying what fans have been screaming for weeks. Start Shedeur, Sanders. Because if the Browns think this is going to just quietly blow over, think again. The protests are growing. There are chants outside practice facilities. City council members are tweeting about it. Even the mayor of Cleveland has reportedly expressed concern over the cultural and economic unrest tied to the team's recent decisions. Let that marinate for a second. The mayor is involved. This isn't just a football crisis anymore. This is political. The Browns are one of Cleveland's most important institutions. They're a civic identity, a cultural heartbeat. And right now, that heartbeat is flatlining. The longer Shedeur stays benched, the more damage is done to trust, to engagement, to the soul of this franchise. And here's where it gets existential. Because this moment, this whole scandal, it's bigger than Cleveland. It's cracking the very foundation of how NFL teams operate. For decades, the league's power dynamics were simple. The coaches coach, the GMs build, the fans watch. Players, they were expected to fall in line. But now, star power is changing the rules. You're seeing it with quarterbacks, with wide receivers, even with rookies like Shedeur. They come in with followings, with brands, with expectations. And when fans attach themselves to them, not the team, the traditional power structure starts to shake. This is no longer about team loyalty. This is about player identity. And Shedeur Sanders might be the tipping point. He hasn't thrown a single pass in a regular season game, and yet the entire league is watching. Because if the Browns cave to fan pressure, if they start Sanders to save their season, their stadium, their sponsors, then the era of fan-powered football has officially begun. And honestly, it might be about time. Why should fans pour their hearts, their money, their lives into a franchise that refuses to listen? Why should the city of Cleveland suffer because one head coach refuses to pivot? And why should a generational talent like Shedeur be punished for being ready too soon? This situation is no longer a subplot. It's the plot. The NFL's golden future is sitting on a bench in Cleveland, and every moment he stays there, the damage grows. So what now? Do the Browns double down and risk losing it all? Ratings, fans, business support, and whatever's left of their reputation. Or do they wake up? Do they hand the reins to the quarterback who's already captured the hearts of millions without even starting a game? Because this isn't a drill. This isn't preseason noise. This is a full-scale reckoning. And the only thing more dangerous than ignoring Shedeur Sanders? Drop your takes in the comments. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. At this point, you could light up the Cleveland skyline with the sheer voltage of frustration pulsing through the city. Fans aren't just upset, they're mobilizing. You walk through downtown and see handmade signs plastered on windows, messages scrawled in chalk outside stadium gates. Start Shedeur or sell the team. Entire tailgates have turned into protests. It's no longer about touchdowns or scoreboards. It's about respect, about being heard, about not letting one coach's blind loyalty drag an entire franchise down into the lake. And yeah, sure, people say it's just preseason. But when millions of viewers vanish overnight, when bars are empty and sponsors start ghosting your calls, that's not just preseason. That's a warning shot. The Browns are standing at the edge of a cliff, and Kevin Stefanski is revving the engine like he's trying to jump it. Except the fans are still in the backseat screaming for someone, anyone, to grab the wheel. And meanwhile, Shedeur, cool as ever. No public tantrums. No cryptic social media posts. Just quiet professionalism. Watching. Waiting. Probably wondering how many more headlines need to implode before someone upstairs finally opens their eyes. Because let's not pretend this kid doesn't know what's happening. Shedeur's been trained for the spotlight since day one. He's not shocked by pressure. He's not shaken by noise. He's been groomed for leadership, raised to perform, built for moments like this. His poise is probably the only thing keeping this team from combusting entirely. But make no mistake, he knows. He knows the fans are chanting. He knows the media is circling. He knows the numbers are tanking. And he knows that no matter how humbly he plays it, he is, right now, the only thing keeping his franchise from becoming a national punchline. You think that kind of gravity doesn't wear on a player? That kind of responsibility without any control? It's like being the fire extinguisher in a burning building that no one's willing to use. And then there's the locker room. No leaks yet, not officially. But you can feel the tension, the quiet side eyes, the moments between snaps, the ones who believe in Shedeur, and the ones who believe Stefanski's dragging them all down with him. It's only a matter of time before that divide shows up on the field. Missed blocks, blown coverages, subtle breakdowns in team chemistry. Losing games is bad. Losing the locker room? That's the point of no return. And don't think the league isn't watching with popcorn in hand. You know every other team in the NFL is already fantasizing. What if we trade for Shedeur? What if he slips out of Cleveland because of all this chaos? Because that's the other terrifying angle to this story. If the Browns don't start him, how long until he wants out? How long until his camp starts making calls? Until agents start sniffing around? Until trade rumors start swirling like vultures? You think Cleveland's dealt with heartbreak before? Imagine watching the most promising QB you've had in decades walk out the door because you refuse to play him. That's the kind of move that haunts franchises. That becomes part of your legacy, your curse. They said the Browns were cursed before. This would make it feel intentional. And here's what makes it all so wild. This could have been avoided. The Browns had it. The setup, the momentum, the storyline. A city ready to rally. A rookie ready to rise. All they had to do was get out of the way. Let the kid shine. Ride the wave. Instead, they're fighting it like it's the enemy. And for what? To protect a system that's actively falling apart? To defend a depth chart written in pencil? To avoid admitting they were wrong? Because that's what this really feels like now. Not strategy. Not long-term planning. Just ego. Pride. A refusal to change course. Even when everything, the fans, the metrics, the money, is screaming turn around. And speaking of metrics, let's be real, the data is brutal. Independent analysts have already broken it down. Shedeur has the better passer rating, the higher completion percentage, the cleaner pocket awareness. He doesn't panic. He doesn't waste downs. He moves the chains. And most importantly, he makes it look easy. Dylan Gabriel, on the other hand, is looking like someone auditioning for a job they know they're underqualified for. Every snap is a survival attempt. Every pass feels like a risk. And every possession drags morale further into the basement. It's not just about talent. It's about tempo, trust, belief. And right now, the team, the fans, and honestly, the entire football-watching world believes in Shedeur. So why doesn't Stefanski? Why is he clinging to a system that's already failed to launch? Why is he benching the most exciting player on the roster during a moment when the franchise is desperate for a spark? You'd think with everything on the line, the ratings, the money, the civic pressure, he'd at least try something different. But nope. Same playbook, same quarterback, same stubborn silence. And that silence, that's what's driving fans insane. No transparency. No accountability, just vague pressers about development and competition, while the season spirals into a meme. It's insulting, and it's dangerous, because people aren't just mad, they're checking out. Brown's Twitter used to be full of takes, jokes, fantasy trades. Now it's just people talking about which teams they're switching to, which players they're rooting for instead. You got lifelong fans talking about following the Falcons. That's how bad it's gotten. And the Browns front office? Still radio silence. No statements. No course correction. Just this stubborn, unspoken belief that the fans will eventually calm down and come back. Spoiler alert, they won't. Not this time. Because this isn't just a fumble. It's a full-on betrayal. The franchise asked for trust. The fans gave it. Then watched it get stomped on, buried, and ignored. And if the Browns think they can fix this with a few PR stunts and a free towel giveaway, they are delusional. This is bigger than football now. It's about identity, community, The soul of a franchise that's been clawing its way out of the mud for years, only to watch the golden ticket get benched for reasons that still make no sense. So here we are, Shedeur Sanders, still on the sideline, Cleveland, still spiraling, and Kevin Stefanski, still standing at the center of it all like nothing's wrong. But something is very wrong. And if someone doesn't fix it fast, if Shedeur doesn't take that field with the full support of the organization, this won't just be the most embarrassing story of the NFL season. It'll be the most avoidable tragedy in Browns history. So what happens next? Does Stefanski finally pull the trigger and start the QB everyone's been begging for? Does ownership step in and make the call themselves? Or does this ship keep sinking, with everyone watching helpless, as the future of the franchise slips through their fingers? Tell us what you think. Should the Browns hand the keys to Shedeur now, or have they already burned the bridge beyond repair? Sound off in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe, because one way or another, this saga isn't over. It's just getting started. And Cleveland, you deserve a hero. You had won. Now fight to see him play. Because here's the raw truth that nobody in that front office seems brave enough to say out loud. You cannot bench the future and expect the present to thrive. It doesn't work. Not in football. Not in Cleveland. Not when you got a generational quarterback sitting on your sideline like an unused cheat code, while the city, no, the league, collectively holds its breath, waiting to see him unleashed. But instead, the Browns are playing scared. They're playing stubborn. They're playing like a franchise that doesn't trust itself anymore, like they'd rather fall apart in silence than admit their mistake loudly and fix it. And look, it's not that Shedeur Sanders is going to magically fix everything overnight. He's a rookie. He'll have his growing pains. Every great quarterback does. But the difference? He's ready to go through them. Right now, he wants the pressure. He thrives on the wait. And that's what makes this so frustrating. Because Shedeur is not some unprepared project with raw mechanics and happy feet. This isn't a development case. This is a polished, NFL-ready quarterback who's been prepared, mentally, emotionally, fundamentally, for this moment since his Pop Warner days. He's not just another rookie. He's a calculated, media-trained, battle-tested, locker-room-ready leader. And every second he's benched, you're telling him and everyone watching that none of that matters. That's not just a coaching decision. That's a statement. And it's the wrong one. You know who else is watching this mess? College quarterbacks, high school stars, agents, recruits, future talent. The message the Browns are sending is simple. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how much better you are than the guy ahead of you. If we're married to our mistakes, you'll wait. You think any elite player wants to come into that culture? You think any future draft pick is going to look at Cleveland and say, yeah, that's the place I want to develop? Not after this. Not after watching Shedeur Sanders dominate the preseason, show poise under pressure, and energize an entire fan base, only to be ignored. And this isn't just about one game or one choice. This is about identity, culture, how a franchise treats its stars, how it treats its fans, how it treats itself. And right now, the Browns are treating themselves like they deserve to fail. Meanwhile, let's talk about what's happening around the NFL. Other teams are salivating. You think coaches and GMs aren't quietly eyeing this disaster, thinking, if they don't want him, maybe we can get him. Because that's the thing about the NFL. It's cutthroat. It's opportunistic. And right now, Cleveland is creating the perfect storm for Shedeur Sanders to leave if the situation doesn't course correct soon. And when that happens, the regret will be biblical. Because no matter where he goes, Shedeur's going to play. He's too smart, too sharp, too ready not to. And when he starts carving up defenses for some other franchise, when he becomes the face of a team that actually believed in him, Cleveland's name will be attached to it forever. You could have had him. You had him, and you benched him. They'll talk about it like they talk about the worst trades in sports history. Like the time the Hornets traded Kobe Bryant. Like the time the Red Sox sold Babe Ruth. It'll be on top 10 franchise mistakes lists for the next 50 years. And for what? To protect Dylan Gabriel's feelings? To avoid having to say, yeah, we got it wrong in camp? Who cares? The moment Shedeur Sanders lit up his first preseason snap, The debate ended. The conversation was over. The decision should have been made. The Browns could have turned the page, embraced the future, and finally moved on from the years of quarterback chaos that had defined this franchise. Instead, they've chosen to stay stuck. And now the entire house is burning around them. Let's not forget the fans in all this, because they're the ones keeping this team alive. They're the ones buying tickets, jerseys, beers, and hope year after year after year. They're the ones who show up in 20-degree weather, who wear dog masks on national TV, who get laughed at by opposing fans and still chant, "Here we go, Brownies," with full hearts. And now, they're walking away, not out of disloyalty, out of despair, because they're tired of being ignored, tired of being gaslit, tired of having their instincts mocked by a front office that thinks development is a catch-all excuse for blatant sabotage. They're not asking for miracles. They're asking for common sense. Start the best player. That's it. That's the demand. That's the chant echoing in bars and driveways and tailgates across Ohio and beyond. And yet here we are, 3 weeks into the preseason. No decision. No change. Just more frustration. More silence. More damage. But that silence won't last much longer, because the pressure is building. Sponsorships are wavering. Broadcasters are furious. Ratings are tanking. Political figures are stepping in. Analysts are piling on. And the rest of the league? They're watching closely, because this isn't just a Browns problem anymore. This is an NFL problem. This is a test case of the future of player influence, for the weight of fan voice, for the changing balance of power between coaching staff, front office, and the athletes who are the product. And if the Browns don't make the right move here, they won't just lose Shedeur. They'll lose Cleveland. They'll lose the trust, the money, the legacy, because this city wants to love this team. They want to root for their quarterback. They want to buy in again like they always do. But first, they need to believe. And that belief starts with jersey number 2. So what's next? The Browns have one final shot to get this right. Start Shedeur Sanders. Hand him the offense. Rally the city. Give the fans what they know they deserve. Lean into the momentum before it turns into a landslide. Or don't. Keep clinging to a crumbling plan. Keep pretending like nothing's wrong. Keep ignoring the ratings, the sponsors, the protests, the entire football world yelling at you to wake up. But just know, if you keep him on the bench, if you let this moment pass, if you let the season implode without ever giving him a shot, you'll never come back from it. Not as a coach, not as a front office, not as a franchise. And the NFL, it will change, with or without you. So, Browns Nation, where do you stand? Are you still holding out hope? Or have you already checked out? And what happens next if Shedeur still doesn't take the field? Drop your take below. Sound off. This is your team, your voice. And make sure you're subscribed, because the story's not over. Not by a long shot. The pressure is rising. The clock is ticking. And Shedeur, he's just getting warmed up.